Nice to meet you again. And when I'm saying that, I'm not only referring to the fact that I'm actually based here in Amsterdam, and there are a couple of familiar faces that I see in the audience. Nice to meet you again refers to, for example, Römerquelle, which is our mineral water brand in Austria, and we have introduced a 100% rPET packaging 2 months ago. Nice to meet you again could also refer to River Rock, which is our mineral water brand in Ireland, which goes in 100% rPET as of this month. Nice to meet you again could also refer to Valsa. Valsa is our mineral water brand in Switzerland, and it is live in 100% rPET packaging as of today. And whilst we are here gathering, our colleagues in Switzerland are currently organizing their huge opening event and ceremony for introducing 100% rPET into the Swiss market. Now, this all has obviously a story, and the short-term version of the story is that we had actually a forum, what we call our annual stakeholder forum, last year in November. And we had, from Central and Eastern Europe, about 40 stakeholders gathered in a room in Vienna. And they told us, Coca-Cola, what you're doing, that's good. Keep on doing that, but be more vocal about it. And share what you're doing, not only with us, but share it also with the consumers. There is obviously also a deeper sense of why we are engaging in the plastics agenda and in waste and in packaging waste. Now, when you take a look at this slide here, this is not the most comfortable place to be. And we have recognized that, we have identified that, and therefore we have committed to a series of actions and initiatives in order to get away from that spot. Now, I would like to very much relate to one of the things that were mentioned earlier. I think it was in the opening session, and Doug said, it's not about plastic as such. Plastic is the future. It is about how we are dealing with plastic. Now, I know that the chart that you see here and some of the information might be arguable, but in essence, there are many, many people who would claim that when you take a look at the use of fossil fuel or greenhouse emissions or water usage or simply the weight for packaging, there are a lot of arguments that are actually in favor of plastic. It is really how are we dealing with this? How are we making sure that plastic is collected sufficiently? And how are we then applying the circular economy idea? Now, Coca-Cola Hellenic Bottling is indeed a large bottling company of the Coca-Cola system in Central and Eastern Europe. We have set out 3 important commitments for the year 2025. We are focusing, on the one hand, on the material itself. We want to have 100% recyclable packaging. Second, we want to use in 2025 35% of recycled PET across our portfolio. So that's important. We've started with some mineral water brands. Incidentally, later this year, we will have 50% of all packaging for Coca-Cola in Austria and in Switzerland in rPET. And eventually, what is important is that we have 75% of our primary packaging collected, i.e. used and also for recycled PET. And we are doing this because we are very much committed to the Coca-Cola system, and we are very much committed to the 2030 targets, the global targets that the Coca-Cola company has set out, that focus actually on this very same areas. If you want, so the 3 commitments that we have for 2025 are the springboard in order to get to what we want to achieve collectively by 2030. It follows a certain philosophy and 3 pillars: the design pillar, the collect pillar, and the partner pillar. Now, first of all, we are focusing a lot on the design pillar, and we are expanding our recycling capacities. We have already achieved almost 100% of technical recyclability last year. We are focusing a lot on design and design innovation, making sure that packaging is becoming lighter and lighter, whilst obviously, meanwhile, also making sure that we adhere to the high product quality standards that we have set out for our products. And we're very much looking into new innovation like technical solutions or chemical recycling. We're also exploring alternative solutions, one of which is actually related to the packaging for cans, secondary packaging, where we are looking into options to use alternatives, carton, for example. We are still pursuing also biodegradable solutions, particularly for secondary materials. And most recently, only a couple of months ago, we have entered into partnerships with the University of Milan as well as the University in Athens in order to leverage research and development and together identify additional innovation streams. The second pillar, collect and collection. And in the previous session on the panel, we heard a couple of things about the collection systems. We all know that they are different from market to market, and I can tell you from experience, it is a difference whether you talk about the Plastic Hero system here in the Netherlands, or you go to one of our markets, whether that's Armenia, whether that's Russia, whether that's Nigeria, which is incidentally also one of the markets that we supply with our products. Now, basically what we want to do is we are partnering along the value chain with our stakeholders. And we are doing that because we know not only that markets are different, but also because we know that this is a complex topic and we can only resolve it when we work together. And it is quite easy to point at the producer or to point at Coca-Cola or at other individual players, but at the end of the day, we will only achieve sustainable solutions when we've got all parts of the society, whether that's NGOs, academia, regulators, producers, waste collectors, and companies like ours all working together. We want to ensure locally relevant collection systems, and we are committed to consumer-facing initiatives like the one that I started with at the beginning with our mineral water brands. Now, we are very active also in the second pillar. We are introducing new packaging recovery organizations or working together with other industry players to introduce such organizations last year, Russia and Nigeria. We are quite well on the way with our targets. We had actually set out a 40% collection target by the year 2020. In 2018, we've already achieved 45%. So already last year, we were actually ahead of what we had initially thought that we would be able to achieve. We have now in 28 markets that we are operating in as Coca-Cola Hellenic Bottling. In 21 out of those 28, we have packaging waste management schemes. And what I've also put on this slide here, the magic figure of 800 million euros. We really put the money where our mouth is. And we have a so-called revolving credit facility that our colleagues from the Treasury Department have negotiated with a banking consortium that is now closely linked with the waste collection target as well as some other environmental KPIs, which is the very first time that we as a business have linked a loan and the payback of the loan and the interest rates to our performance on the environmental dimension. Last but not least, there is a third pillar, and this third pillar is called partner. What we are doing gradually more and more is working together with municipalities, with cities, with NGOs, with other societal players in order to improve the collection rates and in order to work on the mindset of the consumers. Last year we had started with a pilot partnership with the city of Thessaloniki in Greece. Meanwhile, we've also got partnerships in Bulgaria, in Austria, and later this month we will introduce a new partnership in Montenegro, in the city of Budvar, but also along the Tisa River, which is one of the main rivers in Hungary, and more to follow in Latvia and in Russia. Now, this is our approach towards waste and what we call World Without Waste. And by that, I hand back to Gillian.